Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mila, you're my book nook. We have a slightly different angle because I've been filming like straight in front of my bookshelves, but I realized that it's a little tight when I'm trying to set it up because I have my bed there right across from the bookshelf, and it's a little difficult to set up because it's like a mattress, right? And anyways, so we're trying a slightly different angle. I'm still calibrating the shooting location, so it's the same shooting location, it's just probably gonna be different angles. Same room, same vibes, different angles, okay? And I have some jellyfish in the background. I thought that would be cute. And then you also see my gallery wall, which I think is fun. You see some of my bookshelves, you see me in the middle, and it's just an overall vibe. And that way the lighting is sort of more even out, because I feel like when I'm taking thumbnails, especially, one side of my face is darker than the other side, and that makes editing for the thumbnail a pain in the butt. So yeah, so that little tangent out of the way. Same room. I've done this angle a couple times, quite a few times actually, because it's pretty easy-ish to set up. If I'm looking this way, I have my phone mirrored on my tablet. If I'm looking down, I saw this one trick in like a YouTube video. I actually have Canva slides, like a Canva PowerPoint presentation for this specific video, because I did other versions of this video, but I based it off of the Instagram post that I did, which was very difficult, and I kept on having to zoom in. I keep clicking the wrong thing. Oh my god. So yeah, so I saw a video where the person has like a bajillion views, well, not a bajillion, but a lot of views and a lot of like subscribers, and they got to that point very quickly. She has PowerPoint slides. She makes like PowerPoint slides. So I was like, hey, I'm gonna use Canva. Why the hell not? I already have the information in a Canva post. I'm just gonna copy and paste it into a Canva slide thing. So it'll be easier, it's full screen, and it looks nice, if I do say so myself. So, welcome to the third quarter reading wrap up. I will obviously have like the sort of graphs and stuff on the screen. And as for specifically talking about the books, I'm not going to go into too much detail. I know I didn't give a lot of detail in the first two quarter wrap-ups, but I feel like I also had quite a couple of vlogs, especially in the beginning of the year. I think all the books I read in January and February ended up being in vlogs. And then there were a couple in between that time, like after that point, where I slowed down on the vlogs, but there's still quite a few books that were in vlogs, especially like the 3 arcs I read, Count of Monte Cristo, and etc, etc. So be sure to check those out, but I won't go too into depth with these. If you want a specific review for like a specific series or a specific book or whatever, let me know, and I will try to implement that into my schedule. So, that being said, let's get to the third quarter reading wrap up. So, my goal at the beginning of the year was 25 books. I thought, okay, I've hit that goal and more in the past couple of years since I started Bookstagram. So I thought it was a good goal to sort of look towards. So I am now at 40, I believe I am still at 46 books because I haven't really finished any books, if I remember correctly. Let me just double check. I did this a while back. Okay, 46 books. So I'm still at 46 books. And so that is 100%. That is just over 100% actually. I think it's like 100 and I don't remember what it was. I probably should have double checked. Did I have the right amount? Sorry, just give me a second. Because I remember writing down the percentage, but I guess it didn't pan over or something like that. Okay, well, it's over 100%. Obviously, I'll put on the screen what it actually is. And so my new goal at some point during the year ended up being 75 books because I'm doing a challenge with my 13-year-old brother Oscar, who has been on the channel before. If you want to check out the video that he's in. I was like, hey, if you read 100 books by the end of the year, I will get you a personalized book stamp. If I read 75 books and you don't get to that point, to the 100 books point, then you do something for me. I haven't figured that out. There's not much he can do for me, really. It's probably gonna be like, do the dishes for a month? I don't know. Like, there's not much he can do for me, but it's an incentive regardless. And so since my new goal is 75 books, I have now read 46 books out of 75, and that is 61% of the 75 books. Out of comfort zone books, I've sort of stopped like classifying these, I guess, in a sense, but I have read two classics. So I read Pride and Prejudice and Count of Monte Cristo, which were both in quarter 1 and quarter 2 respectively. I read 4 romances out of just the one that I wanted to read, and I did one audiobook. I cannot remember the audiobook that I did. What was the audiobook that I did? Oh, sorry, The Wolf Girl, the Greek and the Goths. That's the audiobook I did. So those are the out of comfort zone goals that I had, and I am left with, I did do literary fiction, just not in this quarter. I did do literary fiction, and I'm left with science fiction and mystery. That's what I'm left with. So hoping by the end of the year I will have all those goals done. And average time to finish is 1 day. Pages read in the 3 months. So the 3 months are July, August, and September. 5,535 pages. And then the page numbers by general count. Less than 300 pages, 300 and less, 18 books, which is 82%. 300 to 499, 2 books, 9%. And 500 plus 2 books, 9%. And then fiction versus nonfiction, I read 22 fiction books. And so this is interesting because I rarely have months where I don't read anything, where I don't finish anything. It is very rare. And I rarely have full months. Like I rarely have, full month of July. Why? I realized I don't have my mic in. So I'm just gonna put in my mic, and that way you'll be able to hopefully hear me better. Someone decided it was a good moment to start doing whatever the hell they're doing. So hopefully this is better audio. Apologies for not doing that compared to the other videos I have out. But anyways, so in the month of July, it's rare that, like, let's say July, right? It's rare that from July 1st to July 31st, I do not finish books. It's more like, I haven't finished a book in a month in the sense that, July 15th to like August 15th. So it's not even all of July. It's just the fact that it's like a month, right? From the date that I stop sort of finishing books to the date that I finally start again, that's like the 30 days, the month, right? So it's not the month in a literal month way, but in this case, it was like the literal month. I didn't read any books in July. And the reason for this is, I believe I started my second job, my translation job, like in June, like at the beginning of June. So a lot of things were happening. I started my second job, and that took a lot of my time because I was traveling, and then I had my library job and everything and all of that. And I was hanging out with friends, I was hanging out with my boyfriend. A lot of things were happening. And then in July, a little bit like 2 weeks in, I think, we went to the US to visit my aunt and their family, and we had, also my grandparents were here. That's another thing. My grandparents were here with us. So at one point we were like, okay, we're going to go to the US, to New Jersey, to visit my aunt, and we're going to essentially drop off my grandparents because they have a ticket out of New York, so it's easier for them to be there instead of, going back and forth and everything. So we stayed there for 3 weeks, which was essentially July going into August a little bit. Yeah, I didn't read anything. I started books, I got books, and I didn't finish a single book. Partly because, again, I was with family, right? Second off, I just wasn't in the country, so I think I felt a little bit of discomfort, and that's why I just didn't feel comfortable enough, I guess. I was crocheting my aunt's cardigan for her birthday, and that took up a lot of my time, actually. A lot of my time. Like, it took me a month to do her cardigan. And just in general, being with family and stuff, you don't really have time to sort of sit down and read for a long time. And because there's like distractions all over, we went places, we went to the beach, so there's a lot of things going on, right? And then we came back, right? And I caught up, simply put. I went beyond my reading goal, actually. In the month of August alone, I read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I read 15 books. That is my highest month. My highest month up until that point was May, which I believe had like 10 books, which was insane because a lot of them were like proper chunky books, right? In this case, I'm not exactly cheating, but my numbers were higher because I really honed in on the manga and the graphic novel opportunities that I had. So in the month of August, I at some point got myself a Kindle. I got myself a Kindle. I love her. I named her Thetis after the Greek goddess. Is it Themis? That was Thetis. Anyways, love her. She's wonderful. It's great. I love a Kindle. So the first book that I bought on the Kindle, I bought this one, and I also have Kindle Unlimited. And I also have US library cards, so I have Libby on there. Wonderful. So the first book I bought on my Kindle, just to see the reading experience, right, was The Devils by Joe Abercrombie. And I read it, and I really enjoyed it. I give it 5 stars, actually. My second Abercrombie book, and I genuinely still enjoyed it. So that was one. And then once I started getting to sort of the KU catalog, because the KU catalog is interesting in the sense that it is primarily romance stuff and not a lot of fantasy, but once in a while you get that popular author, you get that popular series, and you sort of want to take advantage of it because it's like, what am I paying $12 for, right? Or $12, $13 for a month if I can't read the popular authors, right? So on KU, I read The Knight and the Butcherbird and Warrior Princess Assassin. The Knight and the Butcherbird is a novella, and The Warrior Princess Assassin is Bridget Kemmer's new. It's her adult fantasy debut, and it is the first, I believe, in a trilogy, which kind of makes me mad. So for a lot of reasons, and Knight and the Butcherbird is by Alex E. Harrow, so she has a few sort of novellas on specifically KU. It's like Amazon original. So there's that. Then I went hard with the manga and the graphic novels. I put on hold the Amulet series and Frieren, and at some point Spy X Family. So I read the first Amulet volume. I read the first Frieren volume, and then I read a chunkier book, which was The Raven Scholar. Now, I'd gotten an arc of The Raven Scholar, and I didn't touch it for months. Thank you, Orbit, for making all my book, collector dreams come true. But the reality is, I didn't touch it for months until I have a pair of twin friends. Again, something with the twins, It's crazy because I have twins in every single part of my life, essentially. Except maybe childhood. I don't remember ever, actually, were they brothers or were they twins? I don't even know. Anyways, but something with twins. Anyways, so Namra and Aksa are a pair of twins who I am friends with over on Bookstagram, and they both read The Raven Scholar, and I'm saying they because they actually refer to both of them as like they just say they don't say I, they use they, so it's both of them. I'm gonna stretch out my legs here. So they read The Raven Scholar and they really loved it, and then they kept talking about it and talking about it and talking about it. And I saw, I think, a couple of other people being like, oh my god, this is so good, read it. And I was like, okay, fine, I'll read it. And I did. I read it, I enjoyed it, it was fun. I need book 2 like immediately, and again, it's the start of a trilogy or whatever, a series, and I'm mad about it. Because some of these publishers do not advertise that it is part of a series. They do not advertise it. And it's really annoying. Or they don't advertise it enough. Anyways, that's a whole other thing. So I read The Raven Scholar. Then I read the second Amulet volume, and I read 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea by Jules Verne, but I read the graphic novel adaptation. And I joked in my, I think, either Goodreads review or my little reviews on like Bookstagram or whatever, which I might have to still put up, but I joke that adaptation might be the thing that will get me into reading the actual full novel, because I love the concept of having read Jules Verne books, but I've only finished one, and even then I didn't really understand all the sciencey stuff because I'm not a woman in STEM. Anyways, I then read volume 3, 4, 5, 6, and 6, right, of Amulet. Enjoyed all of them. Nothing below like a 4-star probably. Solid novels, solid story, solid character arcs. The art style is lovely. Then I got to Spy X Family. I read volume 1. It took me a couple of days, but I read volume 1. Lovely. Fun concept. I keep putting the second and third volume on hold, and I keep not reading them. And I need to get to that. Then I read Amulet Volume 7. This is my favorite volume, I believe. If I remember correctly. Do you ever just like read like a series back to back that you can't really fully differentiate what happened in the books? Anyways, and then I read a manga called The Girl from the Other Side. And I haven't really seen anyone talk about it. The omnibus editions are really, really pretty, but they're really expensive. So the funny thing about this one is I was at the CNE. If you're Canadian, if you're from Ontario, you know that's the Canadian National Exhibition or whatever, where there's like roller coasters, and it's a fun day. It's like over the weekend, Labor Day, and all that stuff. And my boyfriend was like, "Can we go, please? Can we please go?" And give me puppy eyes. And I was like, "Okay, fine, we'll go." We went. It was really fun. And so I had brought my Kindle with me because I was like, okay, at some point we're probably going to be waiting for a while. Or I don't know, if we wanted to just chill, he could, I don't know, take a nap or something like that, and I could just sit there and read, right? So at one point we were standing for the Sky Ride, which is essentially you get on and it's like a little ride. We were waiting for the sunset timing, and it was really lovely. It was very cute. It was very romantic. We ended up getting on a little earlier than sunset, but it was very cute. A positive attempt. And so then as we were waiting, we waited for like an hour in line. As we were waiting, I finished the first volume. And the first volume ends on a cliffhanger, and I didn't have the second volume handy. Like I hadn't gotten a chance to put it on hold yet because I didn't read it. I didn't finish it at that point. And I went to put my Kindle away, and I had a crazy reaction to the ending. I went to put my Kindle away, and then my boyfriend's like, "No, I'm going to read it." So he read it while we were standing in line. And his jaw dropped at the end, and he was like, "What the fuck?" Which is very funny. So he's like, I need to read the rest of the series. I'm like, wow, damn. So yeah, I really enjoyed this one. Then in September, I read some other KU books, I guess. I read Legends and Librarians. I don't know how I came across this. I generally don't. I think the title is what fully pulled me in because I work at a library and I would love to be a librarian later on. So this one follows a main girl who wants to restore the Misty Mountain Library, but it's in ruins, but not fully in ruins. And it's a really cute, like, love story, I guess. And it's on KU, and it's like, hell, why not? You know? Oh, sorry, this is September, by the way. Legends of Librarians. Then I read From the Mixed-Up Files of Mrs. Basil E. Frankweiler, which was not a Kindle book. It was a physical book, and I read it literally in a day. It was very cute, very charming, very New York, in a sense. Very 1980s, 1990s children's book. I don't remember when this was published. Very lovely. And then I finally read Volume 8, because what the hell was that? Of Lightfall, of Amulet. Sorry, I'm looking at something else. Of Amulet. Because I finished Volume 7. I put Volume 8 on hold, or it was on hold or something like that. And then it just did not come in. It didn't come in for like a week. And I was so mad. I was getting so mad. I was like, I need to know what happens next. The 7th volume had like such a cliffhanger. And so in the end, I just went to the bookstore and I sat on the floor for like an hour, and I finished From the Mixed-Up Files, and then I started and finished Amulet Volume 8. So that's my Amulet journey. And then I already had the 9th volume out from like the library on Libby, so I finished Volume 9 on the way home. And then Lightfall Volume 1, The Girl in the Galdurian, was on KU. The 2nd volume unfortunately isn't, so I think I put it on hold at the library. But this was very cute. Similar vein, sort of Amulet and that kind of thing. It was very cute. And then I read The Witch Hat Atelier, which I believe was also KU, if I remember correctly. I don't fully remember, but it might have been from the library as well. But that one was also very cute. And then I read Echo in Time by Lindsay Fairley, and this was KU, and this was pitched as The Mummy, essentially for fans of like The Mummy and The Mummy Returns. And I literally just like watched the Mummy movies before that popped up on my threads, which was kind of crazy. So I said I wouldn't go into it, but we're at like 20 minutes at this point, and
I haven't even gotten to the rest of the thing. So,
hello, editing Mila here. Hello, editing Mila here. So, when I was filming it, I guess I had forgotten a portion of the graph, the original thing that I'd done, which was an Instagram post thing when I was doing the PowerPoint. So, there is a section where it is Kindle via Libby versus Kindle Unlimited versus Kindle owned versus owned physically versus others, so like gifted and stuff like that. So we have, let me tell you, we have 13 Kindle via Libby books. Okay, I'm gonna put them here. We have 2 Kindle owned books. Now I have to figure out which ones those were. We have 6 Kindle Unlimited books. We have 1 other and 1 gifted, I believe. If I am correct in this. Yes. I don't know why it's not showing up that it's other. Wait, why is this not showing up? Anyways, yeah, the first Here's Editing Mila video I posted, I realized that it didn't have the Kindle via Libby thing. So I also have to fix my Instagram post for that. So yeah. Yeah, there we are.
formats. We're gonna speed run this. 20 digital, 2 print. Sorry, I missed something. Oh yeah, gender of authors. 14 books were by men, 8 books were by women. The reason why the men category is higher than the woman is because Amulet is written by a man. And that's 9 volumes alone, right? So that's why it's higher. Adult versus middle grade. Adult 9, middle grade 13. Again, with the graphic novels, that's why middle grade is higher, which isn't a bad thing. Oh, and I read more than 5. I read 5 middle grades. Anyways, genres, according to StoryGraph, these overlap, so they're not going to amount to 22 books. 19 are fantasy, 10 graphic novels, 4 romance, 4 manga, 2 science fiction, 2 mystery, 11 middle grade, and 1 classic. I'm trying to figure out what the hell was the classic. Anyways, so series versus standalones. 3 standalones, 19 were series, and average rating was 4.65 stars, with 1 3.5 stars, 8 4.5 stars, 9 4.75 stars, and 4 5 stars. And the Q3 hopefuls I read were The Devils and The Raven Scholar, and I'm hoping to get to other books. And here are some videos that you should check out because I'm cool, and you should totally subscribe. And here are some Q4 hopefuls. Will I get to them? Who the hell knows? But yeah, so that's it. I hope you enjoyed this really rambly video. I literally said I wouldn't go too deep into the books, but then I did. And I feel like, I don't know, gave you more substance, I guess. More content. So yeah, so that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, I would love it if you decide to stay and hit the subscribe button, the like, and comment your thoughts down below. How many books did you read in Q3? How many books did you want to read this year? How are you faring for Q4? What do you want to read for Q4? I'd love to hear about it. As usual, follow all my links down below. All my socials are down below. I'm more active on Instagram, so be sure to follow me there. And I will see you in the next one. Happy reading!